Welcome to Loop City. We're five guys who love hoops, entertainment, and culture. I'm Pete Toal. Joining me today are DJ GonzoStar, Mike Skills, and Coach Matt. In this episode, we are giving our first impressions on the opening week of the NBA season. It's been a really good one so far. We're going to give our surprises, disappointments, and any other first impressions that kind of stuck out to each of us. So I'm going to jump right into it and go to you first, Mike Skills. What was your surprise of the season so far?
My surprise of the season so far has been the Boston Celtics. Um, their defense continues to look impressive. They're moving the ball well. They clearly missed Robert Williams in the interior, but their team defense has been making up for it. Their rotations. How long can they hold out without him? That's still the jury's still out on that, obviously. But they're 2-0, and as far as my players that are the biggest surprise, I had to pick two, both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, simply because they seem to have improved their decision making. They're no longer settling for threes, making better shots, taking better shots, excuse me, and they're attacking the rim and getting out in transition. We all know when they're out in transition, it's kind of hard to stop either one of them. And I think both of them had multiple dunks on breakaways in the first two games. And, with them getting rid of the take foul, that has been a welcome change to see some highlight breakaway slam dunks of old. Um, the Boston's new coach, Joe Mazzulla, has been doing a good job. They basically look the same. It looks like game 83 from last year. So I'm really impressed by what I've seen so far from them. And of course, the way they handle both opponents that are contenders.
Nice. Matt, what was surprise for you?
My surprise is going to sound crazy because they're 0-2 is the Houston Rockets. But they've been in both games they've played against playoff caliber teams in the Hawks and the Memphis Grizzlies. Both teams they've played are both 2-0. We know what their roster is, both expected to do well. Maybe teams who could get to the second round of the playoffs. And they've been in every game in the fourth quarter. But as a young team, they struggle closing. So I got to say, I'm really impressed by the Houston Rockets. I think they've shown a lot. You can see the improvement. I actually like the move of bringing Şengün off the bench. It really gives them some firepower off the bench, a guy you can run the offense through, because as we know, they really don't have a backup point guard. And Şengün's a guy who can kind of play that. Essentially, he's like their point center, kind of doing like a Jokic type of role for them. So I like that. Uh, for surprising players, I have two. Actually, they're not. It's not for the Rockets though. I'm saying Benedict Mathurin from the Indiana Pacers, and both these guys we thought would be good. I didn't think he would be this good this early. We've seen the highlights, a little bit of the games. He's been fantastic, and I'm going to say Paolo Banchero is another one. He's been absolutely phenomenal. The first player since LeBron James to debut going 25-5. Last night he goes for 20. He's got 10 at the halftime against a good defensive team in Boston. And it's the defense. He's blocking shots. So those are my surprises so far.
Okay. Gonzo Star, what you got?
The Utah Jazz, just when you thought they were going to win the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, they're 2-0. They beat two playoff contending teams, which we all probably assumed that the Denver Nuggets and the Timberwolves would at least make the playoffs. They made the playoffs last year, and they've beaten both teams, led by Lauri Markkanen, averaging 21, 8.5, which is pretty much 9 rebounds, like 4 or 5 assists. He's shooting like 47% from field goals. It's almost like this is like his coming out party. I think he's been held back in Chicago playing behind Levine and things of that nature. Then he goes to Cleveland where he's behind Garland and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. He's coming off the bench, which he did a very good job last year in a bench role. But he seems like he's stepping into the star role. I think, and me and Matt talked about this last week, I think Utah is a perfect place for Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, definitely Utah for me is a surprise. But I actually I had to narrow down two Western Conference teams. I was torn between two of them. Um, I actually went with the Portland Trailblazers as my surprise because I thought they were going to take a step back, but it looks like Damian Lillard is just killing it right now. Anthony Simons is right there with him in the backcourt. I thought it was going to be too small of a backcourt. That they weren't going to defend very well at all, but um, defensive rating, they're actually, even though it's only 2 games, they're actually seventh in defensive rating. Anthony Simons has been a perfect complement. We saw he got basically the game winner with the little hook shot drive the other night. Damian Lillard averaging 31 points a game. Not shooting it the greatest from three, but he's able to get to the free throw line, 10.5 attempts a game. Anthony Simons with 19 points. Jeremy Grant's fitting in well as a third option, just being efficient, shooting it well. Josh Hart's defending, kind of that Swiss Army knife, able to hit corner threes. Yusuf Nurkic is doing well. And then Justice Winslow off the bench has just kind of been able to play everything from small ball center to a little bit of ball handling, kind of point forward. And I like Shaden Sharp. I think they got a piece there with him moving forward. So definitely intrigued to see what Portland can do. Might even bump those Lakers down further in the West. We'll see. Going to go back to you, Gonzo, for give me a disappointment so far that you've seen.
The disappointment known as the Brooklyn Nets. Like, seriously. Kyrie Irving is an ISO show. And he made a lot of difficult shots yesterday, a few difficult shots, should I say, against Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes did a great job playing man-to-man defense on Kyrie Irving. And let's not make this mistake. Kevin Durant is far superior, a much more far superior basketball player than Kyrie Irving. And another disappointment too is Ben Simmons. Dude, has he taken 10 shots in 2 games? If that?
Yeah, it's not good.
Like, he can't even get double-digit assists. And maybe it's not his fault. Maybe the problem is there's too much ISO ball and he can never get it. We know Kyrie's a ball stopper. So maybe that's what's hindering him too. But Ben, you got to do more than just get 5 rebounds and 5 assists. I mean, you have to do you got to score in transition. You got to at least drive to the basket.
And too many fouls.
Yeah, something has to change, or else I don't see this working. Does Brooklyn look like a playoff team right now? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Everybody's getting to see now in Brooklyn what I had to suffer through with Ben Simmons, kind of not really being aggressive. But we'll see what happens moving forward. Maybe it takes a little while to get acclimated. We'll see. But Mike Skills, give me your disappointment so far.
My disappointment is the Los Angeles Lakers. I have them on the list for one major stat that leaps off the page and off the screen of the TV. Through 2 games, the Los Angeles Lakers are shooting 22% from 3 on 19 of 85. I'm going to say that again. 19 of 85 threes in 2 games, shooting poorly. Now, Matt Ryan has an opportunity to contribute. The other night against the Clippers, he came in the second quarter, hit 2 shots, 2 nice jumpers, as a matter of fact. And Matt and I were discussing this off air. I was like, I don't know if maybe he missed something in defensive rotation or whatever, but he was confined to the bench for the second half. And that was when they needed his shooting out there. Russ is not entirely to blame. I know he went 0 for 11 versus the Clippers for 2 points, but also that night, Kendrick Nunn, who's been brought in to shoot, went 0 for 7. Patrick Beverly went 1 for 7. I will say this. They do have a bright spot. Their defense in that game held strong. They were close in the game, and Matt watched it. I was texting Matt. I was like, yo, are you watching this game? And it was late down the stretch. Lakers made a run, got back into it, but they couldn't throw a rock in the ocean if they were standing on the Santa Monica Pier. They couldn't hit anything, and it's just clear. They just need shots. Now, Patrick Beverly's defense, his intensity that he brought, that was this big scene where he's talking to AD, and he's like, AD, just put your hands up, man. You throwing your hands up for most people in this league is a block. Just go like this. And Westbrook guarding Kawhi, reliving some of their old Western Conference battles when he was in OKC and Kawhi was in San Antonio. Russ plays some great defense. So their defense is fine. As I will say this, though. The defense has a major flaw. AD is the lone rim protector. LeBron can't be your second rim protector. Lakers need a backup big. You know, do they call Dwight Howard, who's just sitting around waiting for someone to call? You know, who's out there on the market they can go after to get a big? I think once they can find 2 knockdown shooters on their roster and a big, they can be in good shape. But right now, that is glaring. Like, defenders are just letting them shoot threes, and it's clear. Now, it's way too early to hit the panic button in 2 games, but right now they're just missing shots. I would say this time a month from now, if they're in a deep hole in the standings, we're going to see some people start to move and some heads to roll.
Yeah, we'll do. Rumor is the Thanksgiving thing. Like, personally, I don't think you can wait that long. Not with this Western Conference being as competitive as it is, because it's stacked pretty much. The top 10 teams are kind of right there. The Lakers can't afford to be, 6 wins and 14 losses 20 games in, like, because their schedule's like pretty difficult moving forward.
They don't want to give up those 2 picks, but also they're trying to see in a few weeks who's going to be the major sellers, like the teams that, like right now, Utah is fool's gold. They won 2 games.
Right.
No, those are pride wins. Everyone's saying they're trying to tank. Everyone's saying they're trying to lose. I'm sure Adam Silver probably sent a notice to the teams that are projected to be at the bottom. Is like, look, just so y'all know, we making sure motherfuckers ain't tanking. But at the same time, they got vets on that team that have pride. You still have Mike Conley. You still have Jordan Clarkson. Those guys want out. When I say they want out, those guys have their bags packed. They have their homes boxed up. They're ready to go. But while they're there, they're like, fuck it, we're going to ball. But I think that's what the Lakers are waiting for. And I agree with you. You could dig yourself a hole and be way back in the standings. But I think they kind of have to roll the dice, because even if you get rid of Russ for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, you're just bringing in one shooter. Like, something that jumped off the screen last night, I was watching Nuggets Warriors, and the Nuggets took it to the Warriors last night. They called them sleeping. Yeah, the Warriors fought back. Close game at the end. But who was on the Nuggets team last night? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, hitting threes. Who did he play for last year or the year prior? The Los Angeles Lakers. Who was included in that trade for Russell Westbrook? KCP. Maybe they should have kept him. He was a knockdown shooter when they were going in the championship, when they were in the bubble, and they just gave up on him. They thought they could find other outside shooting elsewhere, and now they got unknown guys like Matt Ryan. Like, I'm watching the game with a friend of mine. She's like, who's that white guy for the Lakers? And I'm like, oh, that's Matt Ryan. He's brought in to shoot threes. And it's just like, no knock on him, but it's like, bro, this is your opportunity to make the league, and that's a lot of pressure for a guy to play with LeBron, AD, and Russ.
Yeah, he was in Boston last year and basically was a fringe NBA player, and they talked about how both he and Sam Hauser, who's still on Boston, would have like kind of shooting competitions, like it was friendly, kind of into the bench guys and practice going back and forth. And they were like, all right, well, if Matt Ryan can get a rotation spot, then teams will be in trouble because of the ability of Tatum and Brown to drive and kick it out and stuff like that. Well, Matt Ryan got the sprained ankle right before the playoffs and couldn't play. So we never got to see kind of what he could do, and now he emerges on the Lakers. And yeah, he's probably going to have defensive, liabilities, but at the same time, we saw what a Duncan Robinson could do coming out of nowhere off of the right offense of a pitch and catch, resetting, making shots. The Lakers don't have that. They don't even try to swing it a second time and get the ball to a corner shooter or anything like that. It's like a one pass and a shot's going up. But Matt, what do you have?
Okay, so my disappointing team, and the player will also come from this team for me. My disappointment is the Detroit Pistons. They just have not been very good. We knew they would have problems just because of the youth. But you've got Bogey there to come in and help out as a veteran and stuff. And I know they won. They barely beat a bad Orlando team. They get their asses fucking handed to them by the New York Knicks. They did. They got their asses handed to them. They're losing to Indiana right now. They're just not playing well. Now, I should have said this in my surprise. Jalen Duren has been the bright spot for that team, and Bogey's been good. But Jalen Duren has been a bright spot for them. I think, Pete, you would agree, too, on that one. He's been good. He's going to make mistakes when he goes against some of the really dominant, bigger guys, but he's young. He should be a freshman in college right now. But that said, my disappointing player, you already know where I'm going with this, Cade Cunningham. He's got to be better. He's through 2 games, 16.5 points. He's shooting 37.5% from the field, 25 from 3. It's not going to get it done. And tonight, he's 3 for 12. 2 of 5 from 3. I'll take that. That's good. But he just has to be better. There's not much to, Jaden Ivey's been good. He's another bright spot for the team. But I think the biggest thing is Cade Cunningham. If he's gonna play like shit, this team has no chance at the play-in. They're just gonna be in the Wembanyama Scoot Henderson sweepstakes. This team is bad right now. If this is the Cade we're getting, I mean, he's gonna kill my fantasy team too. So there is that.
Damn.
Yeah, man, it sucks. Because I'm a Cade Cunningham guy, and I got to say it. So this
you got like 2 jerseys hanging up in the closet, don't you?
I got 3 of them. I think I got the gray one from last year. I got that red one they had. I got 3 of them, man. I'm a Cade Cunningham guy, and so y'all know I'm not a bias. I try to be unbiased, and I got to call it like I see it. He's played like shit.
Well, I'm going to call it like I see it and go with my disappointing team, my Philadelphia 76ers.
Boom.
They lose tonight to the San Antonio Spurs that are in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. How do you fall 0-3 and you lose to the Spurs 114-105? We get a mixed bag every game. Okay, Embiid goes off for 40 points in this game, 13 rebounds. He looked better engaged. He wasn't forcing things as much. Tyrese Maxey, good complimentary piece in this game. Where the hell was James Harden to be found in this one? 12 points on 4 of 18 shooting. What is PJ Tucker doing out there? We're playing 4 on 5 on offense because he does not shoot the ball. He's averaging 34 minutes a game as a starter, and he's shooting it twice the entire game. You're out there to hit corner threes. Get him the ball in the corner. He can shoot more than twice in a game. We're getting nothing, absolutely nothing out of the bench. Montrezl Harrell doesn't even put up shots. You're not out there for your turnstile defense. You're out there to get rebounds and putbacks and score. Our best bench player is DeAnthony Melton, who's not even an offensive player. He's out there to be kind of a defensive force and a secondary ball handler. Daniel House, why are you on the floor? Where's Matisse Thybulle? Thybulle played the most minutes tonight he's played all season. Before tonight, he played 23 seconds and 18 seconds. He gets 3 total minutes and 1 shot. No defensive stats. Georges Niang looked okay, but he should be a third-string backup, not the backup power forward coming off the bench. We have nobody else that comes in. Where's Furkan Korkmaz to shoot the ball a little bit to kind of help spread the floor? Nowhere to be found, Doc Rivers, because your offense is nowhere to be found. You are a liability as a coach on both offense and defense. We are 29th in the league offensive rating. That is terrible. And you got James Harden and Joel Embiid, 2 of the better players in the league. Joel Embiid was an MVP candidate, and we are 29th in the league. And don't get me started on Tobias contract per production. He ain't doing nothing, and he looks disinterested. It's time for Doc Rivers to go.
I was waiting on you to say that because you start 0-3 with that team. they probably have 1 or 2 more losses before he's out. And I was gonna say, because I didn't realize the game had already started again on Pacific time. But damn, in the first 2 games, it was reversed. Harden looked like MVP, and Embiid looked disinterested. And so tonight he came out with a big one. But I'm just like, what's going on,
They let Doug
man?
McDermott go off for 14 points. He was splashing threes.
Man,
You
get
let
the
Doug
fuck outta
McDermott.
here. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Hey, you're going off harder on them than I did the Pistons, man.
Hey, because the expectations for the Pistons were like, okay, playing team, maybe,
Yeah.
The Sixers were supposed to be Eastern Conference final candidates, possibly NBA finals.
Basically,
ain't making it out of the first round.
Championship or bust.
Yes.
They're not making it out of the first round. Hell, I would
They
take...
don't even look like a playing team right now.
No.
They're in the Wembanyama sweepstakes right now.
It's sad. Like, it's just sad. Like, you could tell Embiid's is not as... Like, he may not be healthy. You could say all the excuses in the world, but he doesn't look interested out there in the flow of the offense.
Not at all.
And that's where I'm a little bit worried. Like, as far as Embiid, because obviously, mentally, when he checks out, then the whole offense is going to go in the tank. Because we're not counting on James Harden to pick us back up. James Harden, all he's going to do is take his frustrations out to the strip club and throw some money around.
Well, and James Harden's not that guy anymore. Like, he's not Houston James Harden anymore.
Right.
I think the biggest thing for the Sixers is their offense has no ball movement. It's 1 or 2 passes. Yeah. It's Harden, Embiid, or Maxey creates something in transition.
By himself, because he brings it up.
Yes.
He's not getting the ball to create. He has to bring it up himself and then just go. Like, that's it. Like, and it's 1 pass and a shot. It's never 2. Like, and then when things go bad, Embiid's like, oh, I got to force it here to try to will us back. Just like he used to do when he was younger, when he wasn't as experienced picking his spots. He's reverting back to that. Harden's like, okay, I can get this step back anytime. It's just not going to work. It's just stale offense, no adjustments, and it's almost like Doc Rivers kind of wants to be fired. But
I heard today Joel Embiid dapped up Brett Brown. Maybe we can get Brett Brown back.
No, I don't think that would happen. Not with Daryl Morey there.
Let me guess, though. You'd rather have him than Doc Rivers.
Yeah, but I'd also rather have Jimmy Butler and J.J. Redick.
Facts.
Facts.
Yeah, good point. Good. Hey, real quick, and maybe I missed it when I had to step away. Did you have any player that was a disappointment?
Yes. As far as a player,
like around the league, anyway, it doesn't have to be on the Sixers.
Ooh, disappointment. No, I mean nothing that sticks out that I would say like a major for me that's like right away disappointment. Other than like I would have went personally for me, I would have went Ben Simmons, but Greg already touched on on them. But I would actually, you know what? I'm going to go Chris Paul for Phoenix.
Okay,
because Chris Paul looks a little bit overweight. And he looks about 10 pounds heavier.
Because he changed his whole diet up a few years ago.
Am I wrong in saying he looks a little bit heavier? I mean, to me, he looks a little heavier.
He looks slow.
Yeah, and he looks a half a step slower.
Yeah, it looks like it's
than he was. And so is Father Time catching up? It's, question you got to ask, but
hey man,
Gonzo.
Real quick, if Father Time is going to be freaking Jason Momoa, man, watch out.
Hey, we'll
you saw the commercial, right? Pete,
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Gonzo, I'm going to go to you. Do you have anything else that stuck out to you? It could be a surprise. It could be another disappointment. It could be something that you're just intrigued to watch going forward.
I kind of wanted to add to it about Philly. I'm looking at Philly's numbers tonight. James Harden, 40 minutes, I think. Joel Embiid, like 40 minutes. Maxey had, I think, 36. Like, their whole lineup is averaging like 30 plus minutes.
PJ Tucker, 30. He's averaging 34 minutes. PJ Tucker.
And you're not getting any bench scoring. Like the other night, the bench only had like 11 points. And tonight, If I'm not mistaken, I think the bench only scored 10 points. Like the bench only scored 10 points tonight for
Yep,
Philadelphia, and Daniel House 17 minutes, Melton 16 minutes, and Niang 15 minutes. Like nobody's really playing on the bench.
Yeah.
So you expect your starters to play 35, 40 minutes a night? I mean, come on, Doc Rivers. I mean, by halftime, they'll be dead. By halfway of the season, they'll be dead. I mean, Doc Rivers has to go. I agree. He has to go. There's no way he sticks around any longer. He has to go now. They're 0-3 and they lost to a team that's pretty much tanking and hoping to get a draft pick to rebuild their team. And they go down 0-3? No.
That was an easy win for them too.
Easy
If they lose to the Pacers, Doc Rivers is gone.
Yeah,
you get that, like go. Ben Mathurin going off or something, like they're done. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Just a
Mike
quick
Skills.
Update.
Oh yeah,
I was just say just a quick update. It's Luka Doncic 9, Memphis 4.
Oh, okay.
To start the game, the Memphis Dallas.
Yeah,
game.
but we know how that goes. Like we saw that against Phoenix. Let's go off in the beginning.
I just saw the score on my phone. So
the bigger thing is let's see if Jason Kidd learned from sitting a player that's hot in crunch minutes. That was their.
Hey, you can talk about that in a minute, Pete. My bad. Sorry about
You're
that.
good. You're good.
Ahead,
Mike Skills. Anything that sticks out to you, good, bad? Anything you're intrigued for going forward?
I mean, honestly, the most impressive thing I've seen this year has been the change in the rule for the take foul. I did not realize. Well, I thought about it a lot last year. It got really annoying and just like slowing down the pace of the game. But now seeing it in action, and now with the penalty of if you foul someone with a clear path to someone in transition and you're not making an effort on the ball, it's one shot and possession of the ball. I think that's crucial. I think it's going to change a lot, especially when we come down the stretch of the season, late game situations. And we saw the first game of the night. I think it was either Tobias Harris or it might have been Maxey who got called for it opening night. And it was like the first one of the season. And when you see it, it really sends a message to the team. It's like, all right, we got to hustle back. We got to get on defense. And now, sadly, the Sixers didn't do it that much that game. But I've seen it in many games so far. It's led to a lot of fast breaks, open court dunks, open court 2-man, 2-on-1 plays. And it's kind of going back to what it was years ago when the take foul wasn't so prevalent. So that's what I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying ball movement and transition basketball.
Okay. Matt.
Well, you probably know where I'm going with this. I'm going with the New Orleans Pelicans. They have absolutely looked fantastic. I know there was a couple rough patches yesterday. They turned the ball over a little too much in the second half against Charlotte. But I want to give Charlotte a lot of props. They were another one of my surprises if I wanted to go there. Steve Clifford has them getting after it. They're playing really hard. They win their game. They're 1-1. They played the Pelicans really well. They get down by almost 20, come back. It's like a 2-point game. The Pelicans are just too deep. But man, I gotta say, this Pelicans team is really freaking good. And if everybody knows I had them second in the West Conference Finals. Greg had them third in the West. He's got them as the champions. Like, this team is really good. They're really well coached. The biggest surprise is how hard they play. Like, the last couple years, you noticed a little bit last year with Willie Green. I think a lot of that is his DNA on this team. They just get after it. It doesn't matter. They're playing 11, 12 guys. They don't even have Jackson Hayes right now. They got I don't think Aaron Gomez played much against Brooklyn. He plays last night, gives them some minutes, but also Jonas Valanciunas is a goddamn monster. Like, he goes for like 30 and 17 last night. What did he get the other day? Like 16 points, 17 points, 13 rebounds. Like CJ McCollum, and they're sharing the ball. It's like, I know, and what the scariest part is Zion's, to me, he's not even playing. Like, people are like, oh, he's the second jump. He looks good. He's in shape. Yes. we all remember the season he played, 65 games? Was it his second year? He played about 65 games, 62 games. He's the best finisher at the rim in the entire league. His touch is unbelievable. He's missing those shots right now. And me and Mike were talking on the phone about this last week. Remember, Mike can confirm. I told him Zion's going to come out and shoot about 50% on his layups. Those touches, because he hasn't played in almost 2 years, that's going to come. And when it does, watch out. This team's going to even be scarier because Ingram, Bi, CJ, Jonas, they're all playing well off of each other, which is great to see. And then off the bench, man, that bench with Alvarado and Trey Murphy is becoming one of my favorite players in the NBA. That guy is good. He shoots the three well. He's playing with confidence. And we should have seen this coming because of how good he was in that Phoenix series last year as a rookie. And I think the way they brought him up last year, putting him in the G League, getting him the reps, getting him ready, like this team is good. And we haven't even seen what Dyson Daniels can do for them. And I think he's going to be another one who they'll get him some time in the G League. I think. Pete, you think they will? You think he'll end up down there? Because you want to get him the reps. And he's already come out and said, I'll play in the G League. I just want to play. I want to be able to help the team. Yeah. So I really like what he's doing. And I know Mike Skills mentioned the Lakers as kind of a disappointment for him. I'm going to take the opposite side of it, though. And Mike and I think we did talk about this yesterday, too. They're 0-2. They were in the game against the Clippers, a team. And they're 0-2. The two teams they lose to are probably the top two favorites to win the championship this year. So it's not time to panic just yet. They were in the game against the Clippers, and I think what we all agree they're getting after it defensively. They just can't make a shot right now. You know, the thing is the 84 attempts are 85. Did you say 84 or 85, Mike?
85.
85. They're shooting almost 43 threes a game at 22%. Eventually, some shots are going to go in. But I think you got to make the trade for Buddy Hield. I think you at least have to go get him. They've got to get a guy to spread the floor for them. And if Matt Ryan can come in, no, not the quarterback Matt Ryan, but if he can come in and make some shots for him, because I think Mike had mentioned to me he didn't play in the second half, right?
No, he didn't. He had 2 key shots in the first half.
Yeah,
and he was on the bench for the rest of the game, and I was like, this is the guy you brought in to shoot threes, and you need threes.
Yes, and I asked that because, Pete, what's the reason for that? If you have a guy who you think can spread the floor for you, why
defensive
is he not playing?
lapses, though, is what
okay.
You know, it's got to be because Lonnie Walker, stronger defender. You've got Beverly. They're wanting to play at small forward which, you know, take it for what you will. He liked Darvin Ham liked the defensive matchup that Russell Westbrook had on Kawhi, even though it wasn't necessarily Westbrook's defense if Paul George is going to throw it straight to him both times.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, a blind person could have got both of those passes. You know, but it all, like you guys said, it can't all be on Russell Westbrook. It has to be as a team. I hold LeBron accountable for that crappy body language. You know, you're supposed to be there to you know, uplift your teammates per se and support and, you know, try to at least look like you're not going through the motions out there. But it looks like to me, LeBron's just wanting to get that, you know, get the scoring over Kareem. And that's what he's there for, to kind of bide his time. Or maybe push to, you know, I think he's pushed the front office to make some moves, maybe trying to wait it out and see what they can do and then see if he likes the moves or not. But the real important factor is we already saw Anthony Davis fall and gingerly make it down the court. And I was like, man, here we go again. If he's done, you know, at any point, if he misses 15, 20 games, the season is over. But I actually wanted to talk about just real quick this rookie class. I think it's going to be a really good class. We know Banchero and Mathurin have been the kind of shining stars so far, but some of the underrated guys that not as many people are talking about, Jalen Duren of the Detroit Pistons, his ability to rebound and just be in the right spots defensively, help protect the rim, a pogo stick on offense. You've got Walker Kessler protecting the rim, scoring around on the rim on offense. You've got Jake LaRavia for Memphis. He hit some timely shots for them so far. And Tari Eason is my sleeper for being able to start within 30 games of the season. I think they'll eventually move Eric Gordon, and Tari Eason will take that small forward spot next to Jabari Smith. Although Jabari Smith's struggling, he to me is shooting too many threes. Tari Eason's doing the opposite. He's doing everything he can to hustle plays in transition to score, playing great defense, just being a complementary piece, picking his spots, but being highly effective at that. So definitely intrigued by this rookie class. And
Pete, with Tari Eason, I know we mentioned it a little bit in the party chat yesterday when we were playing 2K, but does he kind of remind you like he's this year's kind of Herb Jones type guy?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But he has more offensive skill.
Yes.
Already.
And he's taller, I think, right? He's bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, I like him. This rookie class is good.
Yeah, I mean, you got hidden guys like Christian Koloko for Toronto can block shots. It's really cool to see younger guys fitting into the rotation for various teams, playoff teams and non-contenders, and having a good impact. So definitely good. Obviously, you're going to see teams 25 games in start taking on down for the Wembanyama Scoot Henderson sweepstakes. But I saw an interesting thing today where Adam Silver mentioned what is it called? Relocation is what they call it in soccer.
I think it.
And it's basically where the worst teams that try to tank would get penalized for losing games on purpose. They would get sent to the G League, and the G League teams would come up.
I'm going to say this. I don't think that ever has a chance of happening. The owners will never let that happen.
Right. I just thought it was intriguing that was even like brought up in a discussion.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a good scare tactic though.
Yeah.
To tell these owners, look, we're not going to put up with this shit.
Yeah.
And kudos to the Spurs and to the Utah Jazz. You got San Antonio at 2-1, Utah sitting at 2-0, Charlotte, who you thought Pete and once LaMelo went down and obviously no Miles Bridges for obvious reasons. He's not coming back, But these teams are playing hard. The Pacers, the Pacers, another one. These teams we thought were going to be awful, or they're playing hard.
I mean, also think of taking into consideration it's the beginning of the season. Everyone has a chance right now mathematically.
Yeah.
Dudes have pride. Dudes are professionals, and so we appreciate that part. But let's be real, Matt. Come January, February,
Charlotte ain't going to be nowhere to be found.
We're going to see fire sales. Everything must go.
Mike and Pete, and then there's Pete's Philadelphia 76ers, who are in the sweepstakes right now, which we did not see coming.
I think some changes will and the big thing is December 15th is when a lot of players that were signed this offseason are eligible to move. So you probably won't see any kind of major moves until then.
Yeah.
But come December 15th, you got to think if the Sixers are hovering around, 2-3 games above 500 because their play is inconsistent, they'll have to look to make moves, whether it's getting off Tobias Harris or really trying to get some bench help in there to really push things forward. Definitely, Doc Rivers has really got to be on the hot seat out of any other coach in the league for sure.
Could you see them making a move on him? And I ask this because it's so early. They're still a championship contender, right? But who are you going to get to replace him?
Well, you got Dave Yorger in there that's already there. He has playoff experience with Memphis in the past. You've got Sam Cassell, who's an up and coming assistant that many people thought should already have a job.
Yes.
You've also got, and not many people are going to like it, but Mike D'Antoni as a free agent coach right now already knows James Harden, PJ Tucker, Daniel House, because it's the 2018 Rockets.
Yeah, like half their team is former Rockets,
and they could play more up tempo and do a different style kind of than what they're playing currently. I don't know. We'll see, but it just seems like Doc Rivers' voice is just getting tuned out by the players because you could see when he's yelling on the sidelines, Harden drops his head a little bit and just kind of gives that little sideways eye look where it's like, all right, man, I hear you. Like, I got it. Like,
and he just got there.
Hey, so what you're saying, basically, shut the fuck up, Doc.
Basically. It's interesting to say the least how the season's going to go. To me, it's going to be the wildest season as far as teams right in that middle of the pack for both conferences. Like pretty much like 4 through 8 is going to be crazy on both sides. Like I think we may see a team or two that we didn't necessarily expect climb in there and a team or two not be there. And we're like, whoa, how did they not get, one of the top spots just out of nowhere? Because it's not everybody tanking for Wembanyama. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt, I know you're going to set us up with the putting everybody on game. You're the big movie guy.
Yes.
You go see everything at the theaters. What did you see this week that caught your eye?
This week, so yesterday I saw Black Adam. And this will be, I'm not going to give any spoilers. This will be different than last week where, I basically shitted on Halloween Ends. No, I have nothing but positives about Black Adam. I won't give away any spoilers. If you want to go to the movies and just have a good time, it's a good popcorn movie. Pierce Brosnan, Aldous Hodge, absolutely fantastic in the movie. The chemistry was on point. It was just a good time, and it's probably been spoiled already, even though I won't do it here. Stay for the mid-credit scene. You will be glad you did. That's fantastic movie. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. Solid 8 out of 10.
Okay, so I think probably all of us would put it around like a 7. If you got it at 8.5.
No, you might not like it, but I think all of you will have a good time. You're not going to walk out of the theater like, man, that was just terrible. I wish I wouldn't have seen that. You're going to have a fun time. If you like 90s action style movies, you're going to really like it.
So it's a good popcorn movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's a very good. Mike, you're going to have a good time. I'll say this. If you liked Venom, you're going to like this better. And I liked Venom. Not a great movie, but just a good, fun movie. Not the second Venom movie. The first one. The first one. The second one was mad disappointing. I think even Greg, I think Greg was the first one. He saw it before I did and said it was trash. He said the best part was the after credit scene.
Hot garbage.
There you go.
Hot garbage.
Yes. And the first, hey Greg, did you like the first Venom?
The first was all right. The second one, okay. God awful.
Yeah, if you like Venom, you're gonna really like Black Adam. That's what I'll say, and I'll leave it at that.
You said I wanted to touch on one thing. You told me when we were talking about it, the chemistry between The Rock and
Pierce Brosnan.
Tell them about it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like, there's a scene. There's going to be a scene when the Justice Society of America shows up to the fictional country where all this stuff is going down, and Dr. Fate, who's Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate, him and Black Adam have this back and forth. It has to do with sarcasm, and they kind of play on it throughout. It's great. It really is great. And we know The Rock, WWE. We know he's a showman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, make sure everybody goes and checks out Black Adam. It's in theaters now. With that said, we are the Loop City Podcast. We're 5 guys who love hoops, entertainment, and culture. Make sure if you haven't already, click that like button on the YouTube video. You do so. Make sure you're also subscribed to us on YouTube. We put out weekly content of all varieties. We're also on all streaming audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor, and more. Make sure you're subscribed there. Leave us a 5-star review if you'd be so kind. Lastly, we're also on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you're subscribed there. We try to do small clips of different varieties there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We are Loop City.